Hi there, this is Pam, and I would like to welcome you to my channel. This week, and probably into the next, I want to show you how to make a journal using a Reader's Digest cover. So I'll start out with some of the things that you will need to do and some of the papers. So I think the first thing we'll do is show you. I like the vintage, but because I like the covers. And I know some are thinner, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to be making a new spine. And this one's damaged anyway, so I like a 2-inch spine, and this isn't quite. So, this is your standard Reader's Digest, which looks like it is 7 7/8. So it's your standard. So get your Reader's Digest. I'm going to tell you these supplies that you'll be needing, some of the supplies as I think of them right now. So the Reader's Digest, and this is going to be like a garden journal, nature journal. So some books you might want pages are some bird books. You might want some other that might have nature in them. Like this is a Golden Book Encyclopedia. Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. Any Edith Holden pages are always nice. Now I've taken this apart. And when you look at a book and you're going to take it apart, let me move this. You look for, let's see if I have an example here. Here's a book I haven't taken apart. You look for, if it's sewn in, you will see stitching. Or maybe this one isn't sewn in. Let's see. No, I don't think this one is. But anyway, you would find your stitches and then just snip them out. You'd find your stitches, and then you would cut them out, and then you have the page. So you can use beautiful Edith Holden book pages, anything nature, flower related. That you might want something like, some garden pages. And then if you just have a single, I might use these for tags. I've already torn these out. These would make great tags. So that's an example. So if you want to just gather all your supplies, get them ready. You might want some pieces of fabrics, nature related, greens and browns. And if they don't have a print, that's fine too. Here's some with feathers. Might look for some cards, nature, bird themed, scrapbook paper. I like thicker and thinner scrapbook paper. You might want some like little garden cards, ledger paper, some stationery, graph paper. Here's from a smaller flower book. Stationery with flowers on it. This looks like faux flowers printed in there. And then you might want to start coffee staining or tea staining some papers, some regular copy paper. Have that. If you have wrapping paper, if you have wallpaper, some little books that you buy, and I just snipped out the threads. You could use this, or you could cut it, and then you could have lined paper on your page. Here's some lightweight paper, heavyweight bird book from a flower book. You could get things from a coloring book. And then if for cutting, you want to get the pages at 5 1/4 across by 7 1/4, and that's folded. So this is your 5 1/4, this is your 7 1/4. And sometimes you have to like start cutting a little bit here at the top, a little bit there, you know, so that you get your image how you want it. You might want some of this notebook paper, or here's the Edith Holden, and I did the same thing. I cut a little bit off here, a little bit off here, and then I used my scoreboard to score it 5 1/4, because that's how wide the pages are going to be, and then I folded it over. Then you might want, you know, ledger, like I was saying, some stationery. So get all that together, and we're going to be using about 13, 14, 15 pages per signature, and there will be 2 signatures. So for this video, I'm just going to go over the types of papers and cutting. So that's what we'll be doing. So get all that together, and first thing we'll do is we'll take our Reader's Digest, and then I like to use an X-Acto knife, and you're just going to be, you know, opening up your book and cutting down. How sharp this one is. I have another one that's sharper. Should have probably gotten. And then keep this, because we'll be, you know, using that. And so you should have a book block. There we go. There we are. And then we'll turn it this way. And there we have that removed. So you want to do that first. Then you have this book block here. And we can use some of these papers for other things, but you have this block here. So this is what we're going to be using. But then we're going to cut this off, because we're going to make a bigger spine. I like at least a 2-inch. This isn't quite 2 inches, so I'll show you that in a minute. So let's cut the rest of this off here. So there's one. There's the other one. So I don't know if we could use this for something. We'll just put that aside. But here you have your 2 covers, and they're very nice and thick. Reader's Digest. And then you can just clean up your edge with scissors, just if it needs to be done. If you have some extra here. So you have these now. And then you will be making a 2-inch wide spine. and it's 7 5/8. I'm a measurer. If you don't like to measure, you can just, get your chipboard and put the cover on there and then mark it and cut it. But 2 inches across by 7 5/8. And then I doubled the chipboard because I wanted it to be heavy. And then I glued that together. So just get yourself kind of a nice thick spine. So you have that so far. And then gather your other supplies. I'll show you an easy way how I cut my papers. It is a little time consuming, and I have this huge cutting here. Oops. Just because I like this one. I have smaller ones, but this is the size I like to use. What is this? I think it's a Fiskars. I have 2 of them because I just love it so much I don't want to run out. Anyway, so what you're going to do when you have all your papers, you gathered all your papers, your stationery, I fold them all first, and then I cut them. It's easier that way. So here's your 12 by 12. Fold all your papers, and the papers will be 5 1/4 across, and that's folded, not this way. It's folded. It's measured 5 1/4 here, and then 7 1/4 long. So we're going to cut that. So it's folded. Make sure it's folded, otherwise you'll have, you won't have your papers, because you're going to be sewing them into the spine here. So your papers are folded, and then you're going to go to 5 1/4 here. And if you don't like to measure, just use the papers that you've taken out of your book. If you're not a measurer, just use these pages and, mark how you would like with a pencil. But I use my cutter. So there's 5 1/4 that way, and then you can keep your little scraps. Might be able to use those. And then the lengthwise will be 7 1/4. So there's the 7 mark, and then there's the 4th mark, because in the middle would be half. There's your 4th mark. And then save this part here. We can use this for tags, booklets, what have you. So now there, you've got your the size that you need for your book. It's 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 for the papers. So gather some of those. Cut your lightweight paper, cut your stationery, your Edith Holden, all those papers. Now here's some stationery, and you just figure out where you want to cut this, because you're gonna, like, if you go 5 1/4, and you always want your folded edge here. You don't want to cut that. So 5 1/4 is here. And now you're going to cut off some flowers, but that's just how it is. There you go. Cut off that little tiny bit. I don't keep that. And then, okay, you got 7 1/4. You're going to be cutting off a lot of these flowers. So what I do is sometimes I'll just cut a little bit off the side, so I have some of those flowers, and then I'll flip it over, and then I'll go 7 1/4, and then I'll cut. Actually, you're going to lose quite a bit of flowers, aren't you? Well, let's just, oh, it is, but you can use this little piece here. Keep that. So there's your paper. So you're just going to have to be creative how you trim it. You know, and all your other papers too. You know, I've already trimmed this, and, you know, it's shorter, so it doesn't matter. Here's 5 1/4, so, you know, I don't have to worry about cutting it that way. And then I cut it 7 1/4 this way. So just get all your papers together. Here's a garden one. Same thing. And I cut a little bit, you know, right along here, trying to get all the printed, and then cutting here. So I think that is the first step. Also, dyeing your copy paper so that you have some coffee dye paper. You know, you have to have plain papers too, you know, notebook paper and graph paper. So that's it for now. So next video we'll do another step. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.